I'm Fyodor Kuznetsov, and I'm the founder of Formula Life. You know, I didn't invent anything original really, because Formula Life was born out of a very old meditation, and the syllables that I use, they are ancient. They are used in many cultures. You know, Hindu, Tibetan, I don't know, maybe even others. I know that in other cultures they use other syllables. And the thing is, I didn't pay so much attention to the syllables in the beginning, because what I was trying to do, I was just trying to master a Lotus meditation, which I read about in Ivan Rados's book, which is called Health is All About Consciousness. I recommend everyone to read this book. It's amazing, and I'm really grateful to Ivan that he wrote it. But the way he described the meditation, it didn't work out for me, because you know, I'm a busy startupper, and I had a really difficult time back then when I was trying to, you know, to master meditation, and I didn't have space in my mind to imagine the lotus flower. I mean, I really tried, but the thing here kept going and going, and I was very anxious and I was very stressed, and but I kept going. And what really worked for me was just the counting. So the counting of the breaths, and so I was focusing, you know, the first month on just counting the breaths. And in the beginning also, I was just saying the syllables. So I would say lam, you know, just inside my mind, and vam and ram and so on. But over time, it turned into like singing just inside my mind, and I would sing them and vibrate them just inside my mind, and I would feel the different parts of my body, you know, depending on which syllable it was, you know, the syllable that I was singing. And you know, all the chakra stuff at that time, I really I'm not a fan, you know, of all that, because to me, yeah, okay, it's described everywhere, but I haven't seen them and I haven't felt them. So I tried to stay away from that. But what I've noticed was that when I was singing these syllables on the physical level, you know, they were really affecting the points in my body. You know, hum, you know, is the throat, om is the forehead, yam is the heart, you know, ram, you know, really feel there in the muscles. So that was enough proof for me. I don't know about the chakras, but I could feel the syllables really affect my muscles. And I kept going and I kept going. Every day I found the time to go and do one cycle of the 49 breaths, which took me ages because I couldn't remember the syllables and you know, the sequence. And it used to drive me crazy that I would not remember. But you know what? It doesn't matter. I just kept going where I thought I left off. And I learned in that way to trust myself. I had no one to count for me. I didn't have any app. So I just had myself in the garage. And you know, over time, I kept on adding more. I kept on tuning and optimizing the technique. I found out that the counting, it actually happened automatically at some point, that I by accident counted at the same time as I inhaled. So I would say, yeah, just inside my mind, and so on. And then afterwards, I started to see the digits in my mind. And after a few years, I started to do it with the geometrical figures. I started to spin the pyramids. So there is no end to formula. It keeps evolving every month, and it will be 4 years in April 2020. I do it daily. Of course, I practice other breathing techniques. I practice box breathing, is really a good one. And I just practice mindfulness, the basic mindfulness breathing technique, you know, where you just focus on the tip of your nose and you just have all the focus on the breath. However, the mindfulness was impossible to do for me back in 2016. Impossible, because I could not shut up, you know, I was just too anxious and too nervous. So, but Formula Life, it works right away for anyone. It doesn't matter if you're a big talker like me, or whatever, it always works because you see, you use your human abilities. Why it works is very simple, because our brain and our body, it has the biological needs. It wants to talk, it wants to listen, it wants to breathe, it wants to count, it wants to visualize. And this is why Formula Life works so well, because I use the breath only as like a rope, yeah, or like a magnet, because I'm forced to breathe in order to keep myself alive. So I use it like, I can't even explain it, but it's like a kind of a foundation. So I'm adding to the breath the count, and I'm adding to the breath the visualization of the count that I count. I'm adding to the breath my hearing of my breath, and I'm adding to the breath my needs of speech by singing the syllables. And by that I combine these biological needs that the body has, so it becomes calm because it kind of gets what it wants, but on this very basic level. And it when you breathe in a certain interval, and you do it correctly, you leave no space for thoughts. So actually, when you start to extend the breath to 5 seconds and 6.5 seconds and 7 and 9 seconds, between the inhale and the exhale, you leave all kinds of space for the thoughts to come in and to work with them. But you still stretch the void between them, and you get to feel and experience the silent state, because this is your natural, it's your natural choice, it's your natural human beingness to have this choice of the perception. It's like black and white, because I used to perceive, I perceive and I discuss and I'm talking what I'm perceiving. And now I can perceive like that, or I can perceive from within total silence. And it's amazing, because you really get to see the beauty of the world. You really get to see yourself. You really get to know yourself. And when I realized that, it's really become my biggest wish that everybody really learn how to do it, because it's not that hard. And that's why I developed the app, because it's kind of hard to, I try to explain to people how I do it, but I can't tell people like how it sounds in my mind, and that's why the sequence and the training and the recordings and all here, they are exactly how I used to do it, plus the advanced levels, and it's kind of like a guide and a coach. I'm always there with you, and we just breathe. And I use it all the time myself. It's amazing to to have this motivator, like me motivating myself, because I've done it for 2.5 years before I developed the app and I started to test it. I did it always all by myself, and today I also do it all by myself half of the time. But everything needs energy, and sometimes when I don't have energy, when I'm tired, it's amazing to put the app and just do it with the app, and you really get into the amazing states. It's not a meditation, it's an exercise, and the advanced levels, like what interests me is dreaming work, because obviously I think like most people who start to do the breathing stuff, they end up with the dreaming, because it goes along. And by doing this technique, if you go deep, if you do like several cycles and you don't stop and you don't move, you get into really amazing states. And you can do that. You can do that with the app. You can do it without, if you learn it, if you can. And it's really amazing. So that's what motivates me. I keep on developing and adding new things. I've just added affirmations, which is an amazing feature, the most amazing feature since Formula Life itself, because you can program short affirmations with your own voice, and they will be inserted exactly at the right time, so that you really get to hear yourself. You can change whatever you like in your life. and really enjoy it. I really wish for every person in the world to really be able to do that. So thank you for listening to this video, listening to me, for using the app. I will see you soon. Bye.